Today on Robeson DIY, we're going to show you how to make a mirror out of spoons.
Santa spoons!
Straight from the North Pole. So here's what you need. A box of 400 plastic spoons, the flexible kind, it's about $8. A can of red spray paint, good on plastic. A 7-inch circular mirror, some scissors, some glue sticks, and of course, a glue gun. Then you're also going to need a big piece of cardboard. This one's about 2 feet by 2 feet, and that's what we'll start with. Oh yeah, and you also might need some blue masking tape, a few sharp pencils, and maybe even a Sharpie.
Alright, time to make the compass. I lined up my ruler about a 1/2 inch away from the edge of the cardboard so I could make 3 holes. One at 0, one at 3.5 inches, and one at 9.5 inches. Next, I just aligned my ruler with the edge of the cardboard to trace out the perimeter so I could cut it out. I left a little bit of space above the top hole for the center mark of the circle. Using the tip of the pencil, I double-checked the holes to make sure they went all the way through to the other side of the cardboard. I put one pencil at the 0 mark and pushed all the way through the cardboard for stability. With the other pencil, I traced a circle at the 3.5 inch mark and then another circle at the 9.5 inch mark.
After you're done cutting out your big cardboard circle, now would be a good time to plug in the hot glue gun and get that puppy warming up. I decided to add a few more holes in my makeshift circle compass every 1/2 inch. Again, making sure the holes are all punched through, and then I marked the guidelines from the inner ring all the way to the outside edge of the cardboard. I decided to do this ahead of time so that I had some guidelines for when I glue down my spoons later. Then I'm going to draw a line down the middle of the cardboard and draw a diamond shape 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Then I'm going to cut that shape out and add a little hot glue for reinforcement. This hole is what we're going to hang our mirror from.
Alright guys, here comes the fun part. I cut off each spoon right at the base of the spoon handle, or as Grayson has named it, the spoon fangs. You want to make sure you get flexible spoons or else this might be really hard. Now, just repeat this process about 300 times or so. I'd recommend trying to get a few friends to help you with this part. It will go much faster.
I flipped over my mirror and I took off these little pads so that I can mark a guideline around the inside edge. I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch in from the edge of the mirror. The pencil didn't really show up, so I'm going to use a Sharpie. Now I'm going to turn the mirror so that the Sharpie creates a line about a 1/2 inch, and I didn't quite get it the first time or the second, but third time's a charm. This is the guideline that I'm going to glue my spoons to. Then use something to prop your mirror up, because when we glue the spoons down, they're going to stick past the lower edge of the mirror, so you're going to need a little extra space. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right at the cut mark on the spoon. Then glue one at the top, and then one at the bottom, right on that line. Then glue 8 more spoons on the line on the right, and 8 more on the left. Once all those spoons are dry, flip it over and tape off your mirror using your blue tape, so that when we spray paint it later, the paint doesn't get on the glass. Then once that's done, find the center on your cardboard within those circular guidelines we made. Because when we glue this on, we want to make sure that it's in the center of that entire large circle. So flip it over, add a bunch of glue to the high spots of the spoons, then quickly flip it back, line it up in the center, and then press down. Once that's all dry, you're ready for row number 2. Now row number 2 is a little bit tighter than the rest of the rows, so you might have to trim off a little bit of the edges of the spoons when you glue them in. Then row number 3, 4, and 5 are super easy. For the 6th row, they're a little bit too tight to fit side by side, so I decided to trim 18 spoons on the left and 18 spoons on the right, and glue them down in pairs. So you have a total of 36 spoons, lefts and rights. It only took a few minutes, it really wasn't that bad. And from here on out, the rest of the rows will be 36 spoons, side by side. No trimming needed. Continue gluing down the spoons, making sure to keep each row aligned with the spoons in the row that they match up with, like this. Now once you get to the top, it looks like I'm going to cover up our hanging hole with the spoon, but they're spaced out so that the spoon only hides it. See? Then finish row number 7 and 8. Then, when you get to the top of row number 9, you'll need to cut a little V in your spoon. Then glue it around the hanging hole. Then finish gluing down row 9 and 10. Now because we barely have any cardboard left, for row 11, I found that we needed to glue the spoon on the top and the bottom so that it glues securely. Now all 306 spoons are glued down.
Finally, the part we've all been waiting for, painting the spoons. Put on your breathing mask and shake the can really well. Make sure to paint at all the different angles and get into all the nooks and crannies. Even though we built it from the center to the outside, you may still find a few strings from the hot glue. I'd wait about 30 minutes for your paint to dry before trying to remove them. Once it's all dry, just remove the tape from the mirror and now it's time to hang. Using a nail or a screw on the wall, you can hang your mirror from that little hole we put on the back. Holy cow, that is the best looking spoon mirror I have ever seen. Perfect! You would never know those were spoons.